the show. Final hour Monday, and I've mentioned this throughout our time already together. Olin Buchanan now joins me inside the Charles Schwab studio. And no, Olin's not every Monday at 1. Matter of fact, this might be his last Monday for a while because Tuesday last week, Tuesday this week, Aggie football fall camp. Matter of fact, tomorrow Mike Elko is going to meet the media after practice, and we'll listen into him here on the Louis Bellina Show because we do fall camp in their words. And a week without Olin is like a week without pizza. That's not a world I'm going to live in. So Olin's been with us Mondays, hanging out, catching up, talking Aggie football and more. What's up, brother?
You know, I can't tell you how many times I go a week without pizza.
Well, how many weeks? Not how many times a week, because if you eat pizza every day, you're going to die.
Or how many times did I go a week without pizza?
No, man. No. That's not a world I want to live in.
I will say this. It happens more frequently than when I was single. When I was single, I might eat pizza 3 times a week. In fact, sometimes it might have been a meal, all three meals in one day, you know. But once I got married, that changed. She likes pizza, but not like that.
I haven't met many women that do like pizza like that 3 times a week, 4 times a week, and could have it for every meal, including breakfast.
And then you got to start thinking about which kinds of pizza you want. I won't say because I don't know if they're a sponsor or not, but she does have a favorite pizza place. So
well, we all do.
If that ever comes up, though, like if I brought that up once a week,
she's in.
Yeah, she's in.
I have a couple of pizza places in town that are my absolute no hesitation. Now, being a diabetic, you don't go out and eat a lot of pizza because, the crust and things like that. I treat myself and I plan ahead. And when I do eat pizza now, it is so special and fantastic.
Yeah, I would need to get your recommendations, seeing as though you're somewhat of a pizza aficionado.
True.
A pizza impresario, if you will.
I am. That is a fact.
You have pizza in your blood.
Cut me, I bleed tomato sauce. 979-693-1150. Look, text me, sure. Text Olin. He's here. Take advantage. OB of the Texags universe. 979-693-1150. So it's been another week. Who's our latest fall camp superstar? Who's been grabbing the headlines?
I don't know, but I was out there on Saturday in that insanely hot practice. I felt like I was on that episode of Breaking Bad where they get lost in the desert and they're having to drink urine and everything to try to get through. And I didn't drink any urine, but
good call.
It was
good call.
But it was so incredibly hot, and I kept thinking, fortunately, I could look over and see the Texags logo and say, okay, if I can just hold out, I know there's water over there.
Don't they have interns over there that bring you bottles?
No.
You guys have a staff of like 50. Just text back to the office.
That's only for Billy. They also have,
fair.
They
fan Billy.
Yeah. That's what, so anyway, what really stood out to me is probably what you've already heard, is that I thought Marcel Reed looked really good. I thought Ruben Owens strikes me as a guy that looks like he's going to have the best year of his career, as does, I guess, the one guy that, if I had to say one guy that I was just blown away by that day, was DJ Hicks. I don't know if he was just having a good day or everybody else having a bad day, but he looked unblockable. I mean, he looked like the guy at least that during that practice, and maybe this is an indication of what's to come, but he looked like that guy that you were anticipating getting when he was the number 1 ranked defensive interior lineman in the country like 3 years ago.
So DJ Hicks, it was the star Saturday anyway, even if not the week.
Well, to me, I mean, it just stuck out to me. They couldn't block him. But Terry Bussey looked good again. Terry Bussey's been kind of the
consistent.
Yeah, maybe the star of the whole August camp. And I tell you somebody else that the more I watch him, the more I'm convinced that his position's not going to be a problem. Is that Ray Coney? That linebacker from Tulsa. He can run. He's big. He likes to hit. Looks like he's instinctive. I think maybe Tony
Catalina
mentioned that to you too
last Wednesday. Yeah. He went on a 8.5 minute, 9.2 minute long, just Ray Coney's that guy.
And if he is that guy,
and I mean that as a compliment. I'm not making fun of Tony. That yeah.
If Ray Coney's that guy, I mean, just be the equivalent of Buddy Johnson. He might be better, but just be that. And A&M's their defense gets a lot better immediately.
If you can have a guy that can stalk the middle of the field, a true playmaker linebacker who can be in on the chaos, who can actually cover the mid and make the mid a factor. And when we talk about fits, right? Yeah. When you have that guy, he makes up for some misfits, right? Because of the instinctiveness, right?
The instinctiveness and, so that's just one guy. But I came away, look, to me, and maybe I just, I'm not acting like I have an expert eye for this, but to me, the jury is still out on the O-line. And sometimes you're going to see them make plays, sometimes you're not. And then you say, yeah, but is the D-line that good? So I'm sticking to my my earlier statements that I think this team this year is going to be as good as that O-line. I mean, if they're good, this team's going to be good. If they're really good, this team's going to be really good. If they're championship caliber, this could be this year's Indiana. But they've got a lot to prove. And you know what? And you're not going to come up with that. You're not going to come up with that diagnosis until you're not going to see that in practice.
Nope. There's a problem with practice in that not everyone's allowed to go 100%, because if the D-line was allowed to go 100%, they'd have to cut Marcel Reed in half. Anytime you have to pull up, you're not allowed to fully hit. You actually can't aggressively attack. Sorry.
And, they weren't in absolute full pads on Saturday. And
you can't be nasty.
Yeah, and then, again, maybe that A&M defense is going to be really, really good, which I think it might be. But until I see them play Arizona State, that's going to give me a little bit better. And that's going to give us all a little bit better idea of what they are. I'm not saying, oh my gosh, the offensive line's a lost cause. I'm not even saying it's bad. I'm just saying I don't know.
It has to be tested.
I think
in real time.
I think the last time we talked to Elko, he was even kind of there. He was saying, look, you got to balance it with what you see from your offensive line, defensive line, and their defensive line, and there's new guys.
Also, don't they have to commit to a combination and then have it work together, but they're still doing combinations?
They are. They did combinations Saturday. Now, I suspect, obviously I don't know this for a fact.
Olin,
I suspect.
You know things.
I suspect they know who their starting offensive line is. I suspect they know probably, if they don't know their entire two deep starting lineup, then they may be like, yeah, we know 21 of the 22 or 20 of the 20. Like, we know that secondary, but we're still, you know what? We still think Ricky Gibson, who's been hurt a little bit in camp, and Ugo Humphrey, we're going to have to take that one right down to the wire, right? It could be something like that. Hey, we think we know our linebackers are, but what if Damian Sanford just starts looking so strong that we can't, it's kind of like that. But
here's the thing. In a lot of those situations you said, the answer is they can both play. There's no positions that one is exclusive at all. Right. I know you were picking just examples, but if you have too many DBs, there's no such thing.
Who are they going to start at tight end?
If you have a third linebacker, there are snaps in these situations you're looking at.
Yeah. I'm like, who's going to start tight end? You go with Richie Anderson? You going to go with Houston Thomas or somebody else? Maybe Coyote Armstrong finally put it all together, because he's the guy that's the most impressive physically of all of them, because he's a walking mismatch. It's got to come together for him, or somebody else. So, but I suspect
plenty of snap for two tight ends. Plenty of, again.
I'm just saying, who's going to run out there with starting lineup? I suspect they know.
With 2 weeks to go, you're supposed to, right? Isn't that standard? The standard acceptance.
Now, they typically don't release a two deep until that first Monday, and then even then, there's a bunch of oars on it.
You know, the two deep charts are nothing. And the weights, heights, and like you said, if you look at the oars, they're starting 17, which would be a flag on every play.
Okay, well, who do you think is going to be starting O-line, Lou?
Well, hold on. Don't forget, anybody can
Okay.
text and weigh in on this.
All right.
I think every spot's locked down but left guard, right?
Okay. Well, so who do you got at left guard?
That's the problem. I said that every spot but left guard.
So who do you got everywhere else?
Left tackle,
Thornby
LSU,
and Adams.
Tyree Smith, center's Naboo. The right guard, it's the South Carolina.
Baugh.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
right guard is the transfer. Right tackle, is Formby.
Yeah,
It's pretty straightforward. Except left tackle guard appears to be the competition.
If I had to bet, all right, if I had to place my bet, I would probably bet on Blake Ivy.
Okay. He has the momentum.
I thought he's looked good out there. But again, first of all, I'm not out there all the time. So I'm just going on based on what little bit I actually get to see and what little bit I know. I think I know what a good offensive lineman looks like. But
There's a problem. I don't think you can tell off a practice a whole lot.
right. So and plus,
You're not allowed to play game speed.
plus sometimes you don't know what the play call is. And he may be looking at, hey, look, he's doing really good. Yeah, but you know what? He was supposed to release and go get that other guy, right? So you just never know.
No. And practice is really hard to tell. And again, when y'all are watching practice, they're doing combinations. And that makes it even harder, too. Olin Buchanan inside the Charles Schwab studio on a Monday. Low cost, full service, best of all local. That is Schwab. And how can they be best of all local? Like, isn't Charles Schwab New York, LA? Well, best of all local means Mark Sim. He's right here in College Station. Eat here, sleep here. He goes to the games too. His only concern is you, me, Brian, College Station. You can look him up online. Go get answers to your questions. Schwab.com/College Station. Charles Schwab and Company Incorporated, member SIPC. What's else stood out? You could tell. You know what's interesting? You could tell we're 3 out of 4 weeks in because there's starting to be an accumulation of information.
Yeah, I thought the secondary looked good. When they had the guys I think are going to be the starting secondary, even not. I saw one guy. It was Bravion Rogers, and I think he's a backup safety, and he got beat. But you know who beat him deep? Mario Craver. That's not an indictment.
That's an All-American that's going to beat up a lot of the SEC.
Mario Craver had a 50-something yard catch against Miami. Right? Mario Craver was toasting Notre Dame guys. So, if you get beat by Mario Craver, you just add it to the list. And so, who stands out? Mario Craver. But Bussey, I'm telling you, Bussey's just doing things that, or I was talking about this with David this morning, and one of the things I saw him do, and it's not one of those plays that'll stand out, but it was just it's probably about a 10-yard comeback. He ran about 15 yards, and he comes back 10 yards to catch the ball, coming back toward the quarterback. You know what I'm talking about, which is no big deal, right? If you can't make that catch, why are you here, right? Except that there was a DB draped all over him. So he's, even when he's well covered, he's showing that those, a good receiver makes those catches when you're well covered, right? Anybody can make them when, there's nobody around you. So that was just something that stuck with me. And again, I saw Reuben Owens make some plays, and I think Reuben Owens, I may be barking up the old wrong tree, but I think Reuben Owens is going to have a big year if he gets adequate blocking.
So have you seen, or the accumulation of everything you've seen, that has helped inform your decision-making about A&M's final record?
Well, I've always said this, and I'm not going to move off of it. I said, on the surface, you have to go 8-4 until I see what the offensive line is.
Which you can't do till games.
Right. I believe if I see what I think is a good offensive line, I believe you start at 10-2 and go from there.
So you think they're 10-2? That's right. Okay, sorry. That's right. That's why I asked if you saw anything in fall camp to change, but that's right. You said 10-2.
If the offensive line is a plus.
Okay. B grade, is C grade enough for 10-2, or is it B grade and up? What level?
Are you saying 10-2 is a C?
No. The O-line has to be what grade to equal 10 wins or higher?
Yeah, I would think a B, maybe even a B minus.
Okay.
Then it shifts over. Is the defense going to be as good as I think it is, or is Marcel going to be that guy that runs away from pressure or whatever and is making plays off schedule? Hopefully it doesn't. I mean, hopefully he does that.
Well, if the O-line is B, Marcel won't have to be off schedule much, right? It's interconnected.
Yeah.
And I'm not worried about the D. For 8-9 months now, and then when it's all gotten serious the past 2 to 3 weeks where you got to finalize thoughts, I just don't find a lot of anxiety over anything on the D.
Yeah, are you going to, let me ask you this, because I might ask Elko this the next time I talk to him, and I kind of got to deal with what he'll say, but
Don't use the word easy around him, though.
Do you just take it for granted that a Mike Elko team is going to have a good defense? Maybe not necessarily.
No, because the first year they weren't that good.
They weren't,
and that was his
either.
defense.
What happened with that was they were pretty good early, and then teams started figuring out what
their
liabilities were,
what their limitations were. Yeah.
Individually.
No, what was wrong with that is he trusted Bateman to run it.
Well,
because if Elko was running it, even with their limitations, he still would have been creative enough to not be. He still would have figured out ways to make each game a challenge, but that was not what Bateman could do.
Well, anyway, so I feel I'm not ready to go out on this and say, hey, it doesn't matter what the situation is. If Mike Elko's there, they're going to be on good defense. That said, I expect them to have a really good defense because of Mike Elko.
You can't do that. All right, I'm seeing that. This is where I need a timeout. I'm not ready to say, but I'm going to say, quote, Olin Buchanan.
Every year,
see, here's the thing. He's never going to have a talent. I do not believe they're ever going to have a talent issue. Look at their portal work. Look at his recruiting. Therefore, if he has the tools, I think he's not going to suffer. Therefore, why would he not?
Yeah,
is he all of a sudden going to forget stuff?
I do wonder about that defensive tackle spot opposite DJ Hicks.
We'll be back. It's the Louis Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric, built on faith, family, and community. CC Electric, free estimates, military and veteran discounts. It's what they do. It's the Louis Bellina Show, Monday on the Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
Your home for Aggie football is the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
The Louis Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric. The Louis Bellina Show inside the Charles Schwab studio with Olin Buchanan on a Monday. And again, programming service announcement. PSA? Programming service announcement. Olin next week. Tuesdays 1. Pretty much the rest of the year. Next year, he is normally, but work has called him last week, this week. So Olin Buchanan hanging out with us on a Monday. I'm chuckling. This is the weirdest college football offseason with the way the courts, the rulings, the Cleveland Browns player about to transfer portal to LSU. Through it all, being an Aggie football fan, follower, call it what you want. This promise of back-to-back CFPs and seeing the paradigm shift. And that's how I've approached this upcoming season, is if Mike Elko can prove that things have changed, truly.
Yeah, well, you're right. What a crazy off season, and this whole thing now, like you can actually play in an NFL preseason
and get a check.
That's
$115K. That not for this guy, but $115K for, was it Pyburn, who's trying to go back?
And I don't know if Pyburn goes back. Based on what I saw last year, I'd welcome him back as an A&M guy. I'd welcome him back because I just didn't think he was very good. But that's something that has to get addressed, and this whole thing of rogue judges that are just doing things that's gonna, in a lot of cases, just benefit their local teams.
Well, that's part of the problem. Is it's rogue jurisdictions, and then rogue judges who, it's just nuts. This is what happens when you get the government / the courts involved.
And who wanted to do that?
Nobody.
Yeah, the NCAA.
No, they didn't want to. They just never. if I go way back, if I remember right,
that said we want to give it to Congress to solve our problem.
I thought that they just never thought it would happen. No. Like when NIL first was on the table and our government threatened to rule, I thought they were playing like chicken fighting, where they thought, nah, that would never happen. If we ignore it, it'll go away. That's what I thought their attitude was. I'm wrong?
The NCAA actually asked Congress to figure out their problems.
So they never thought it would go state to state? They just miscalculated?
I don't know what they thought. I just know that because I remember thinking, why was any business anywhere asked for Congress to solve your problems?
Never bring the government in.
Right. But
one of the worst miscalculations ever.
That was Mark Emmert, who may be the worst bureaucrat in the history of bureaucrats.
He wasn't a bureaucrat because he didn't know what he was doing. He didn't know how to play the game. He never played the game. Yeah.
Yeah, he's terrible.
And now the consequences are still happening till today.
Yep. Terrible. Back to what we really care about. Can Mike Elko make it 2 in a row? I think so, because I don't know how you look at, if you're like a national analyst, I don't know how you could look at dismiss A&M if you're not going to dismiss Oklahoma and you're not going to dismiss Alabama. And
LSU. What about LSU?
Or LSU. Because you're banking all that on Kiffin. And, well, you got a good quarterback in with a bad foot. And, by the way, let's see how good he is against the SEC. And he does, maybe he's got a Scattaboo type running back behind him, that's going to carry things, most of the load. But I'm not saying Sam Leavitt's not good. I'm just saying, how good is he? It's not like, Joe Burrow, right? So we don't even know if it's Jaden Daniels, even though they came from the same school.
He's not going to wear the number 5.
He made plays. Yeah, it's so funny. So, yeah, I mean, how if you want to say, hey, yeah, Georgia, I'm going to put them in, okay, I get it. Ohio State, I'm going to put them in. Notre Dame, look at that schedule. Of course, I'm going to put them in. Miami and the ACC, of course, I'm going to put them in. Texas Tech's probably going to win the Big 12. Yeah, I'll put them in. But when you get to those teams that, are going to, that you're projecting to be the at-larges, what would you see, for instance, from Alabama that would make you say, oh, I'm definitely putting them ahead over A&M? If you were to say, well, I look at those teams as a coin, they're both about the same, and one of them's going to be 10-2, and one of them's 9-3, and Alabama plays A&M at home, I'll say, okay, I'm not so sure I agree with that, but okay, I see I see the logic in that. But, and maybe they say the same thing about Oklahoma, but A&M has to play them at home. But, people talking about how tough A&M schedule is. Look at Oklahoma's. I mean, they go to Georgia. Of course, they're playing Texas. But they have to play Texas and Dallas, not at home.
Almost all these CFP contenders that are fighting for the slots 3 and 4 have the same brutal. And Texas, who's fighting for slot 1 or 2, has maybe the toughest schedule in the SEC.
Yeah, and they may be 9-3 again. They may be 8-4.
9-3, and it's weird. With the money they spent and the commitment and expectation, 9-3 would be absolute failure. But with the schedule they have, it'd be a great 9-3.
Yeah, and it might even be good enough to get into the playoff.
Are you buying that? Because I saw that narrative like 2 weeks ago when fall camp started. That was a week long. Well, no, and it's Texas. That was kind of the narrative. That this might be the year, but if it's anyone, it's Texas.
I would say this. First of all, you'd have to see how many teams are going to be 10-2, and what are their schedules. And then if Texas is 9-3, I would have to say, just like last year, who did you lose to? Texas, and we've talked about this. They try to spin this narrative. Hey, if we hadn't played Ohio State, we'd have been in the playoff. And I'm like, if you hadn't lost to Florida, you'd have been in the playoff. The loss to Ohio State didn't knock you out. It was the loss to Florida that knocked you out. Why don't you ever take accountability for that?
That's not their style. It's not what the Longhorns do.
You're right.
Ever. Anything. At all.
Yeah. So, Was Vanderbilt 10-2 last year?
Yep.
Yeah.
Did not get in.
But Texas did beat them. So in that situation, would you have taken let's say the situation is the same this year, but you have that opportunity. There's an opening, and for that last spot, and there's 9-3 Texas and 10-2 somebody that Texas beat. Does the 9-3 with a win over somebody who's 10-2, does that make the difference?
Texas, the committee behavior,
or anybody, doesn't necessarily.
The committee behavior has always reflected the most number of wins count, and head to head is just one data point, unless you're a blue blood.
Right. See, to me, I always say if all things are equal, the head to head should.
But 9 and 10 aren't equal.
Right.
That's the problem.
Which is why I thought Miami deserved it over Notre Dame. They played. I know it was early, but they played. What if A&M beats? What if A&M's 9-3, but loses? No. What if A&M goes 10-2, loses to Oklahoma, but beats Texas? And Oklahoma's sitting there 9-3. Now
A&M's in. Look, the Texas win is so much committee cred that's like getting 1.5, and maybe 2.
But then the folks
that's committee cred.
The folks in Oklahoma will be saying, "Well, we beat them," right?
No, you beat Texas, you get bonus points.
Maybe.
And losing to Texas knocks you like 4 spots down. Happened last year.
Yeah.
11-1 team gets knocked out of the top 4.
I always said there's no way that A&M should not have been in the top 4, even with the loss to Texas. And I can rationalize it simple. Okay, Texas Tech, yes, they won a conference championship. I know that's why you're using a line of different delineation, or however you say
delineation,
whatever. But they lost to Arizona State. A&M lost to Texas. Which team is ranked higher in your own BCS standings? Okay, A&M's best win. Notre Dame.
In the CFP.
CFP is what I meant to say. And what is Texas Tech's best win? BYU. Where are they? Who's ranked higher?
Not. I'm with you. Again, losing to Texas cost them somehow like 4 spots. No. Cost them 3. Cost them like 3 spots. Beating Texas would have got them, they might have been like the 2. Well, they would have been in the SEC title game and then a different path. But then they could have lost that and still been in the top 4. Quick timeout, come back. Look, sprint to the finish on a Monday, coming up on the Louis Bullina Show, presented by CC Electric. Built on faith, family, community, CC Electric. So text 979-693-1150. Matter of fact, when we come back, Olin, I got a couple of text messages for you. It's the Louis Bullina Show, Monday on the Zone.
You're listening to Bryan College Station's home for the Aggies, the Texans, and NFL primetime. The Zone. 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
It is the Louis Bullina Show, joined by Olin Buchanan of Texags inside the Charles Schwab studio, the Monday edition, and the PSA of the day, programming service announcement. Olin next week, back on Tuesdays at 1. Back last week, this week, Monday thing, because again, he's got to work on Tuesdays. Mike Elko will speak tomorrow, and this will be his last time before we hit the weekly routine.
I thought it was just him.
Well, let me see here. Look.
I thought he's going on
Like
Thursday.
I haven't screwed stuff up before, okay? Let's see. Tuesday. Of course you know better than me. You're out there. So I guess it'll be Thursday, Elko, or Wednesday?
Lyle Hemphill and Players tomorrow, and then Thursday will be Elko.
See? You're out there every time. So tomorrow will be Lyle Hemphill and Players. Then Thursday is Elko. And then, what is it? They have like practice scheduled, but if they do well, they cancel the last one or something. And whatever. This week wraps up. It's the final week of fall camp.
Yeah, I would not be very strenuous this week, but I'm not the coach.
With Missouri State, it's okay. Maybe the last day or the last days or whatever is more strenuous for your 2s and 3s, getting the work they need.
Yeah.
Where for the 1s, that's an X number of reps and then they're good. I don't know.
I was doing some not scouting, not the right word. I was seeking out information today. I can't think of the word I'm looking for.
Research?
On research, thank you, on Missouri State today. And
they announced the starting quarterback at the mid of last week.
Skylar Locklear was at UTEP last year.
Sounds like a Star Wars character.
Had 5 interceptions in the game and lost to Delaware.
The Delaware secondary was boss last year.
He also had 4 touchdown passes in that game, 4 and 5. They lost 61-31 to Delaware.
You know, if he'd have cut down on the INTs, it'd have been closer.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a pick 6 in that.
Couple, maybe.
Maybe.
5 picks, 4 touchdown passes?
They have a receiver with a crazy first name. His last name's Robinson. That's pretty good. He had like 7 touchdown catches last year, some long ones. So, you know, I mean, they're not going to be just a punching bag. They're going to come out. They may make you work a little bit.
Here's
my trivia question: what conference is Missouri State in?
Missouri Valley.
No.
Yes.
Well, does that even count for football? I don't even think there's a Missouri Valley. Does Missouri Valley Conference even have football anymore?
You think they folded with non-super conference realignment?
Way back in the day, you know, I remember North Texas and some others played in the Missouri Valley. That was way back.
Okay, here I'm Googling, and it says, does the Missouri Valley Conference still exist? So I'm not the first person to go down this road. It says, yes, the Missouri Valley still exists
basketball conference.
and is active as one of the oldest Division I college athletic conferences. They have 11 members because they added Belmont, UIC, and Murray State. Oh, and the departure of Missouri State.
Missouri State. So which conference are they in now?
Oh, they stopped sponsoring football in 1985.
Yeah, so which conference are they in?
All right, hold on. Look, this is one step at a time here. I can only Google so many things. Where does
I know
Missouri
the answer. I know the answer.
State play football?
They're in Springfield, Springfield, Missouri.
I should have said conference. Location. Oh, my gosh. In Springfield, but near the historic McDonald Arena.
Okay.
Did you know that?
I didn't.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm just going to tell you.
Hold on, no. I'm getting there.
All right.
Oh, no way. Conference USA. Do you remember when Conference USA and the American Athletic Conference were having the battle for the SOLA G5? Because they were bidding on the same teams, and the winner was going to get the TV contract and get to be the number 1 P5.
Didn't they start out right as like the teams that were left from the Southwest Conference that were left out of the Big 12?
Went to Conference USA? Look, you're going to ask me to track what TCU and SMU did in their journeys? No.
I'm just saying. I think that's where that and some other teams. That's how it was birthed. But anyway, yeah. Now they have Missouri State. So
Conference USA lost, and you know they're actually power ranked as the dead last G6 now.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that
because they lost the war with the AAU, and Conference USA was left with nothing.
The AAU,
American Athletic, you know the
Conference.
AAC. I said AAU, high school sports again.
Yeah.
So that was always interesting.
Okay.
And now the Pac-12 is supposed to be the number 1 G6. You know, with the Reformation.
Which is also kind of bizarre who's in that one. But anyway, so did you say we had some text messages?
Roy May. You know him?
Yeah, I know Roy.
How?
Well, let's see. He's on the band show.
You listen to that?
And they come into the office. He was a yell leader. And then he running for city council.
Something like that. I saw something on the
he used to cook barbecue. I mean, I'm sure he still does, but he used to have his own.
I remember that
food truck. Yeah,
I'd hit that up with some of the game day Saturdays, trying to sneak in there real quick and get out.
And now he's out there working for that enterprise that is the Bach conglomeration of real estate,
trying to take over the world.
Yeah.
Roy May texted and said, outside of Coney and Horton, who is the transfer that to you looks like he's going to have the biggest impact?
Okay. I think most people would like to say it's going to be Ricky Gibson, but I just haven't seen him play that much, right? And outside of, I'm going to leave out somebody obvious. You got, I'll guess, my guess is going to be Tyree Adams.
There you go. That's mine. Look, you had Trey Zoon. What was it, 3 years, 4 years? You never thought of left tackle. And I know in his last year, he kind of played like three. He was the Swiss Army knife O-lineman. But you never thought of it. And that's how it's supposed to be. Left tackle, quarterback sleeps well at night. Fans don't worry about it. And if that's how the season goes, he was one of the top three most impactful transfers.
Yeah. So
because if you're worried about your left tackle, your whole line has a problem.
Yeah. Offensive line, I always said it's not sexy. It's like tires. You know, when you get new tires, you don't go out and say, hey, everybody, look at these new tires I got, right? But if you don't have them, you got a problem. So that's what my analogy. I just wish a car had 5 tires instead of 4 because it'd be perfect. You know, offensive line with 5, but.
No, tires are too. I don't want to buy another tire. They're too expensive.
Well, the spare.
And they sell them, you can buy them in pairs. I'm trying to add an odd.
You got to have a good 5th one as a spare. So that's.
Then it'd be 6 if I had 5 tires.
Yeah, I'm going back to 5 here.
No, hard pass.
Okay.
No.
I hope that answers your question, Roy.
Yeah, we both agree. It's good. Again, I just want to. I don't want to ever think of him again and never think about the left tackle. At the end of the year, I'll be like, that dude rocked.
I am kind of intrigued by this kid from Illinois. And I'm not even talking about the kicker, which, by the way, could be the answer, David Olano. But Angelo McCollum at that defensive tackle spot opposite Hicks.
Well, if Saka ends up being first-team All-American, he's going to be one of the top 3 impacts.
Sure.
But I want it to be him. I want your left tackle to be one of your top impact transfers because that becomes the anchor of your entire O-line.
I just hope that Mike Elko's track record, his hitting percentage on transfers, I just hope he maintains that hitting percentage. Just keep hitting whatever you're hitting because it's been good. He's got a really good success rate.
Talked about that his first 2, and just it's insane actually. His completion percentage in the transfer portal is actually insane.
It really is.
And you notice something, we both agree on the same one, and then the other names that are options for it are pretty, again, Asaka and others too. It's a high talent bar.
If you said Anto Saka, I'd say, oh, yeah, probably. If you said, well, David Olano, they made 63% of their field goals last year. And I said, well, if he's the guy, yeah, probably. Tyree Adams, probably.
I don't want to see the field goal kicker. Remember I said I don't want to see the left tackle? Don't want to see the field goal kicker either. Nothing against him. He can be a great human.
I want him to be the best one when they're down 2 with a minute to go or less and you're lining up to take the lead.
I don't want to need a field goal with a minute left in the game. I want to be more efficient in second and third quarters.
But let's be
I'm tired of wasting drives.
What if it's a 55-56 game?
Oh, I'd be so happy. You don't get it. Those are my favorite kind of games.
Oh, man.
I'm tired of these.
You need to watch arena ball.
Tired of these 17-14 games because you wasted like a quarter and a half.
What's the perfect kind of scores of perfect entertaining game? Is it like
at 34-31?
34. Okay. All right. Is there another text message?
Let's see. No.
That was it?
No. Because some of the questions, like, it just...
No such thing as a bad question.
That's not true. That's not true at all.
If it's asked gosh, I'm having trouble with my vocabulary today. If it's asked in earnest, it's because you're learning.
No, I beg to differ on that one. Okay. 979-693-1150. 979-693-1150. A question I asked earlier today.
Okay.
Give you a shot to take a tackle at it. How much do we have to count, qualify, reclassify returning experience? Because we live in a modern world where you have starter in your program, your system, starter from your conference, but transferred in, and then you just have transfers from other conferences. Oh, transfers from G5 There is 4 different levels of transfers now, but they're all starting experience.
Yeah, I think that if you have good starting experience coming back, I think that means everything. I think that's a huge factor.
But is all experience equal? Like, how do you quantify this?
Well, this is one of the things that concerns me about the offensive line. One of the things that you'll say why the A&M offensive line was so good, and probably every good offensive line that they've had, I mean, really good, not just good, but really good offensive lines they've had, is it's been 3 to 4 guys that were playing that had played multiple years together, and then like last year, like one year they brought in Amaje Reed Adams, but everybody else had. So if you got one guy to fit in and develop that quote cohesion that's supposed to be so important and so hard to build, and knowing what the other guy's going to do all the time, it's probably not so big of an issue. But when you got 4 new guys, and you're going to have probably 5 starters that have against Missouri State's the first game they've ever played together at the same time, how long does it take to build that cohesion? And
I've always asked that.
And it's going to be different for different people. Some guys, and if anybody can bring it along quickly, it's Adam Cushing. I believe that. So I just think that if the more experience you have coming back from your team the previous year, if you were good, obviously the better. I mean, I'm glad A&M has their leading rusher back. One of their leading receivers back. Their leading. Their quarterback back, Now, if they would, and some other receivers like Bethel Roman, who was your leader in yards per catch. But I'd like to have more than one offensive lineman back, starting offensive lineman back. But that was a really good offense, and we're talking about there's 5 guys, more than half that offense, or half, or maybe even more than half that offense that played a lot, that has that experience. Is that enough? I mean, and let's face it, even before all this crazy transfer rules and everything, there's always the turnaround that, hey, guys are going to leave, and now new guys have to step up.
Yeah, but new guys have played for 2 years. The developers, freshmen, sophomores
like
worked
Blake
in.
Ivy.
Right, versus. We'll be right back. Olin Buchanan, Texags, Texags.com, just everything Texags, basically. Monday, hanging out with us inside the Charles Schwab studio. Get ready to celebrate. DraftKings, if you're a new customer, guess what? Use the code KZNEAM. Why? If you spend $5, you get 200 in rewards within 21 days. The code again for new DraftKings customers is KZNEAM. Also, mark this date down, September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day arrives with massive deals, exclusive deals, and an all-day celebration built for sports fans. The countdown has begun. All roads lead to game day. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC-registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click-to-claim issued in non-withdrawable prediction dollars that expire in 1 year. Terms are available. Check them out at dking.co/predictions promo. Nationwide based on sportsbook, predictions, and free-to-play sports contest availability, and varies by state.
Listen to the Houston Astros on the Zone, thanks to Kelly Berdozer.
It is the Louis Bellina Show. A little, let me say breaking news. Let's see, how old is this? Not really. Some updated news, because the Astros fired their GM, Dana Brown, this morning, and now Bob Nightingale, Twitter X, USA Today MLB writer, is reporting that Joe Espada is out at the end of the season, and the way it's being handled, he was given the option to leave today, and he has decided that he would manage the rest of the season. And I just know, for me, I'm like, why would you have a lame duck manager? Like, I get it, he's auditioning for next year, and maybe the players will respond to his decision to play for them, but I mean, just in general sports. I'm not claiming you're an MLB expert. Why would you keep him? Like, the whole world knows he's fired now.
Well, season's almost over. I know
they're a first place team, tied for first, fighting, and he's fired.
I just wonder, all you Astros fans out there, do you miss Dusty?
Yes,
Baker?
And I thought Dusty had outlived his usefulness. He is making stubborn decisions and maybe not the best, but now all this. Well, I miss like James Click, a GM, but he got fired because he was doing too good a job. I mean, that's the insanity stuff I kind of missed.
I just remember hearing people always complaining about Dusty Baker.
Yep. Because again, we got to go. Talk to you next week.